Hello, Sarah. Sarah is here with us. She is a hypnotist and a change maker from England. And I would really love if you could explain what hypnosis means to you.
Okay, well, hello, Iwona. Lovely to be here. Hypnosis for me is it's a quick way to get major changes. It's like slipping under the wire. Instead of going through, weeks or months of therapy, or it just cuts through to the main business. You get the conscious thoughts out of the way and just sort out somebody's head. I studied NLP and before I did hypnosis, and for me, hypnosis includes those things, but it's so much easier to get there. It's just quick. That's it. What I like about it. It's quick and to the point.
How exactly does it work with in the human brain for that change to happen so quickly with hypnosis?
Well, we don't deal with the conscious mind at all. The conscious mind is sort of out of the way, so that you just deal with the unconscious, which is responsible for running your whole body. I mean, you learn something like walking, talking, driving a car, and then you hand it over to the unconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to think about it. You can walk, you can talk, you can drive. All these things you can do easily. If you play an instrument, once you've learned how to play it, you then can play without thinking. So but we also learn things that aren't beneficial to us, ways of behaving that don't serve us. And if you can get into the unconscious where that mindset is, you can take it out, change it, and put it back in with a more beneficial behavior, so that your life is much more positive, and you can just see things in a different light. It's like, I imagine, I have a picture in my head of you're born and you're sort of a pure ball of light. That's it, you're pure. And very shortly after you're born, or even during your birth, you might get like a ball of string. It's like things constantly being woven round, and eventually it becomes really difficult to see out, or for people to see in. So what they're seeing, what other people are seeing, isn't the real you, and what you're portraying is not the real you. But in hypnosis, you can quickly and easily start unraveling that ball, so that you start to see the bits of you, the real you comes out. And that's what that's the way I see it. And it's just a much more simple and easy way, less painful than years of therapy, because you can just change like that.
In your personal life, how did you encounter hypnosis? When was it, and how did it affect your life personally?
I've always been fascinated by hypnosis. I did at some point go to study it some years ago, but we didn't have the internet then, and I can't imagine what sort of hypnosis I would have been learning back in those days, back in 1980 or something, 1985. But something else came up and I never went down that route. But I gave up smoking after smoking for 10 years, and I was 20 a day smoker, and I gave up smoking with a little guy that came round. We all piled into somebody's house, and we were in and out, all being hypnotized to give up smoking. And it worked. I went in, I came out, I really wanted to give up smoking, and it worked. I can't say, I think if I was hypnotizing somebody now to give up smoking, I would also tell them that they don't have to have all those side effects, because I believed I should have all those side effects, and unfortunately I did. I had lack of concentration, I ate too much, I had stomach cramps, I used to sigh, I'd be but the first 2 weeks was so awful. I felt so terrible. I said to myself, if I ever smoke again, if I start smoking now, I'm never going through that again. So that I'll be a smoker for the rest of my life. So that confirmed in my mind that I would never smoke again. And I didn't. But my mother went in just after me and had her session, and she just really wanted to be hypnotized. She didn't want to give up smoking. She came out and straight away lit up a cigarette, which didn't work for me. So obviously hypnosis only works if you want to change.
Yes.
And so it made me change, yes. So it was fascinating. And so when I got to a stage when I could study hypnosis, I've been I've been going down that route since about 2011, doing various things. So it's just how transformative it can be.
Yes. Yeah. So what's interesting to me, you mentioned that the hypnosis only works if you want to change, which should reassure anyone who is afraid to try hypnosis, that if there is something that you don't want to do, something that is against your will, it will simply not work. So it's for both for habits and any type of behavior. So many people are reluctant to try hypnosis, or maybe even afraid, because they think that it's some kind of a mind control. But if that was the case, then 100% of people that go through hypnosis for smoking cessation would be able to accomplish it. But it's not the case, because the very important part is you really need to want it to 100%. And if you don't have this burning desire to change, then hypnosis will not work, correct?
Yeah, I do have a funny little anecdote with that, because I did put on about a stone, if not a bit more than that. So what's that, 16 pounds in weight, which is a lot. And I thought, it's okay, I'm going to concentrate on the smoking, not smoking, and then I'll have hypnosis for the weight gain. Well, that didn't work at all. I did have him back, this same guy, and it didn't work. But some while later, I bought in those days, it was a cassette to listen to this thing. And I had to listen to it every night. It was about 40 minutes long, every night for a month. And in it, he mentioned something about God. He's obviously a Christian. And I found that I was like, I don't want that in my slimming thing. He mentioned that I would not drink tea and coffee anymore. And so back in those days, we didn't have chamomile tea, mint tea, berry tea, bloody tea. When you went round to somebody's house, you had a tea or a coffee. And all I could think of was, I can't do that, because what will I do? If somebody said, I'll have to have a glass of water. But he did say, water will be your favorite drink from now on. You will never, ever drink squash pop. And to this day, I cannot drink pop or squash. I couldn't. I can have fizzy water, but the thought of having a Fanta or a Coke, couldn't. So, yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Human mind is fascinating. Have you, so you then used hypnosis on your clients. Is there any particular problem that you enjoy to work with more than any other problems?
Well, yeah, I do. I really like to bring out people's potential. You know, I've had a client who couldn't love. She couldn't fall in love because she'd lost her husband many years before, 24 years before. She'd had boyfriends, she'd lived with people, but her heart belonged to that soldier who died 24 years ago. And the mother of that husband had said, "It's okay for you. You can have another husband, but I can never get another son." Now her unconscious mind went, "That's it. I loved him more than his mother. I am never loving again." And it was one of the most moving times of my career when I turned it round, because she said, you know, if I love somebody else, I can't have loved him that much. And I said, when we were in the hypnosis, that he has shown her how to love, and if she never loved again, she'd wasted that. He'd opened her up to love. And I actually physically took, you know, the heart and passed it, her heart. Michael was giving her heart back to her to give to somebody else. And it was such I've got goosebumps now saying it. And do you know what? Within 3 months, she had met somebody and fallen in love, and they're still together now, some 5 years later.
Wow, that's so powerful.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That's the power of your unconscious mind. It's like, I am, you know, you make up your mind that if you love again, and you find that with women whose husbands die and the children, you know, maybe don't want them to get married again because they really loved their husband and they feel like they're being unfaithful. But if you enjoyed being married, if you loved being in love, then you owe it to your partner to go on and love some more.
Yes, that's powerful. It's just the way we are interpreting things. We can interpret them in a way that is negative and limiting in our life, and the very same events we can interpret completely differently, and the same is with our emotions. That's why we sometimes hold on to those emotions for way too long, because we think that we have to, or maybe that we are disordered, like in an anxiety disorder. And once we accept that belief that there is something wrong with us, that we are disordered, that we are broken or defective in any way, then it is really hard to stop. But if we just stand back and look at our mind, our brain, as a tool that we own, and perhaps there is a thought error running inside that is a thinking habit, then it's so much easier for us to change than just think that there's something inherently wrong with us, or broken, or defective, I think. So you also worked, before you became a hypnotist, you worked doing a very, very important function, making people, women mostly, look beautiful, doing makeovers, cutting hair. How is hypnosis different than hairdressing?
Well, apart from the fact you don't have to get hair and dye all over your clothes, so that would be one of the downsides of hairdressing, is everything I've owned had a blob of colour on it somewhere. But it does have the same effect in that somebody comes in, they might be feeling a bit glum, they're not, their hair's a mess, and you give them a nice hair wash, you have a good chat, and then, because I have a very small, it's an intimate salon, there's nobody else there, there's a lot of counselling, coaching, talking, going on, so they can offload things. And then, lo and behold, they're transformed. Their hair is lovely, clean, and you know, they're the right style and the right colour, and they feel brilliant. So I suppose there's a lot of similarities. The only thing is you do need to have your hair done generally every 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully with hypnosis, it's not something you have to keep coming back and having done. It's once you've fixed it, it should then stay. It doesn't, you might come back for something else.
Yes.
That problem that you had, that you came in for, it might take a few sessions, but once you're signed off, then that's it, done. You don't have to come back every 6 weeks for a redo.
Yeah. This is great. So you mentioned therapy, counseling, coaching. How is hypnosis different than those other change modalities?
I think it's time, really. Time. The two can be combined. If you're having a longer program, a bit of coaching and a bit of hypnosis, it sort of helps. It, as I said before, it cuts into it cuts a lot of things out. But it's very good. If you're doing a longer program, for people to have homework to do, things to invest in themselves. So coaching, I don't really as I say, it's just chatting away. That's it can be very beneficial, just letting people offload and talk things through. But I think sometimes they're still talking through the bits of paper or the pieces of string.
Yes, that's so true.
It takes much longer to unpack that. Whereas, I suppose hypnosis is like taking a pair of scissors, isn't it? Bing, bing, bing.
That's very similar to cutting hair. You cut hair and it just falls down, and it never goes back and goes back into your head and gets stuck into your head again.
No, that's it. Yes,
this is it. It's kind of decisive cut.
Yes. Yeah. I actually did one of those today, a very decisive cut. Somebody who hadn't had a haircut for a year, and I went out and just went. So she went from looking like an old hag to looking a lot better.
So if I had a problem, let's say I had some kind of a stress, maybe I had a disagreement with my significant other, and I was dwelling on it and needed some relief. How could you help me as a hypnotist?
I think very quickly. I mean, I would just get you to change your breathing. So you would breathe in through your nose for 6, out for 6. Do that a few times, breathing deeply from your belly. But one of the great things you can do is you can anchor somebody in a state of calmness. So obviously it's not as quick to do it, but once you've got the anchor, then it's easy. So you might hypnotize them and get them maybe to what would be a calming motion. So maybe just put your hand to your chest, and you would get them induce them into a hypnotic state, and then you would just say to feel really calm, get them to feel calm. Think of a time when they felt really calm. And then once they were there in that calm sensation, get them to put their hand here, or I mean, you could do anything, whatever felt like it, it could be, you could just rub your head or something that would anchor, that makes you feel calm. I mean, there's no point clenching your fist, because that's a sort of angry move. So
Yes.
so something that would make you feel calm. And then what we do when we anchor something is get them to that state, have them enjoy that for half a minute or a minute, and then let go, wake them up, break the state,
Yes.
put them back in again. So you repeat 3 times, and on the 3rd time you would really rev it up so that it's calm, really calm, imagining whatever it is that you need to imagine, whether you imagine the sea or the trees or gardens, so that you can really feel anchored to that feeling, so that when you get stressed, just put your hand back there, whatever it is you've chosen to do. Take in 3 deep breaths and just be calm, and that would help immensely.
Beautiful.
Yeah. In fact, I watched somebody doing this on your forehead, and that is an amazing. This is an anchor for me. I discovered when I was doing it. I was doing it in bed because I couldn't sleep, and suddenly I was a little girl. It took me back to being 5 years old. I was just there, like, wow, that's what I used to do. My son would do that. And that's an amazing anchor, isn't it? You think we do it anchoring all the time. So anchor bad things, or you might hear a car screeching past, and it might remind you of take you back to something, if you had a car accident, so there's things anchoring all the time. So you might as well take the time to anchor something that's really beneficial, something to calm you down.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, one of the biggest superpowers of hypnosis is being able to teach clients how to create an emotion on demand, and this is precisely what anchoring is doing, and to have that ability to not only stop the unhelpful emotion, but to create with those anchors an emotion that we want, that we need in a particular moment, gives us so much authority over our lives, so we are not dependent on external people, or maybe going on vacation or getting a raise. We can actually generate those emotions within our own body, because what's emotion like not a vibration inside of our body, but very often we believe that this is other people that make us happy, other people that makes us angry. And with this, we give our power away to those people. And this is simply because this is one of the past beliefs. This is how we grew up, and we were taught from early on that we make other people happy or unhappy, or other people make us happy or unhappy, and we believe in it. But with hypnosis, we open ourselves to this unlimited imagination, and we can believe in anything that we want to believe. There is absolutely no restriction or limitation on what we can believe into, and to have that belief that we can anchor, create, or associate any emotional state with our body, inside of our body, is an amazing tool to give to our clients.
Hypnosis enables people to take responsibility for their lives, and not give it up to other people.
That's so important. But they have to want to do that, because it's very easy to go into the blame victim mode, because when we do, then we don't have to act, because if we blame our misfortune on others, then we just can remain within our comfort zone and stay there. But for those of us and those of our clients that want to create more beautiful life for themselves, it is possible, and it actually does not require years of therapy. It's a really fast change modality, isn't it?
Yes, and no medication.
No medication. That's right. So if a person would like to contact you, how can they get in touch?
SarahWebsterHypnosis.com.
Great.
And you can also contact me on Sarah Susan Webster at gmail.com.
Thank you, Sarah. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.